I'm going to ask you a series of different questions.
Yeah.
And you've got to vote who you think out of you, James and Richard is most likely to. So if you want to write it down on the whiteboard and then just show it up to the camera.
I write down the name?
Yeah, and just show it to the camera, and then we'll just kind of elaborate on why you picked that person.
I've got you.
Okay, so who is the biggest pain in the neck to travel with? May. Why would you vote for May? Why him?
May has, how can I put this delicately? May often needs to go to the lavatory for his number twos, but only, as you just arrive at an airport, the car's there, oh, wait a minute, I need to go to the lavatory. Or just before you're leaving to go and catch a plane. So Richard and I have worked out that when we get to the pearly gates, when we're dead, we're going to ask Peter for our James May poo time back. And we reckon we can get another 3 or 4 weeks of life for the amount of time we've wasted waiting around for him. Because he always takes a crossword with him. Oh, well, you see, there we are. It's most interesting doing the crossword here as I do my number twos. With no concept, he's holding 70 people up. So.
Okay, justified.
Yeah.
Who has the worst travel attire?
The worst travel attire?
Still away.
He's got these Jesus sandals, and he wears them on aeroplanes in public where people can see him. Oh. And he teams them with socks.
Some people would say that's trendy. It's not a look. It's not a fashion statement when he does it.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody.
Who speaks with the worst foreign accent?
No, wait. He doesn't speak a foreign language. James May does not speak. He has not. I've never heard him say, "Ouais, oh non, merci." Sprechen Sie Deutsch? No, I've never heard him. So the worst foreign accent.
Is you?
All right.
I
don't know why.
You do quite a good French accent.
No, parce que comme je parlais français, je ne sais quoi, mais je parlais avec un accent terrible Yorkshire. Ça fait difficile pour moi à comprendre, mais that's what happens. I don't know why, but I always think French should have a Yorkshire accent. And I'll give it one.
You give it
I give it a Yorkshire accent. So when my girlfriend rings to order a curry, she always does it in an Indian accent, which I think's racist. But she says, no, it just makes it easier for me to be understood. I'm like, oh, yeah. So she's Irish, but with that is a mad accent. But
so when you were in France, you give it a bit of a Yorkshire accent.
Well, I do, yeah. But Hammond's pretty good at French. James is entirely incapable of speaking any foreign, not even yes and no.
Oh wow, that's impressive, really. How
Yeah,
bad
to get to his age, and I think he can say "Der Wasserfall is kaputt," which means the waterfall is broken in Germany, but it's never been useful for him.
Who has the best/worst sense of direction?
Yeah, best is me.
Okay.
Because I've got sat-nav on my phone and I keep my data roaming on, unlike the other two mean heads. And James, hotel once in Sao Paulo in Brazil, we checked in late. We'd come in from Iquique in Chile, very late, I don't know, 2, and we had to get up quite early, about 6 or something. So we had 3 or 4 hours. Go into the room, put our heads down for the flight home. I went off to my room and I got up in the morning and James May was still walking the corridors with his suitcase looking for his room. Never got a minute's sleep.
Oh,
he
wow.
can't. And that's another thing in the morning when we're travelling. You can be a good 40 minutes knowing he's somewhere in the hotel. Oh, wait a minute. Or opening fire escapes. No, wait, this isn't it. And he says that when he thinks of Britain and he's trying to navigate his way from, say, London to Nottingham, he has to turn Britain upside down in his head to work out which way to go. So.
Wow. You know, funnily enough, he actually voted for you.
He said what?
He said you were the worst with sense of direction.
Yes, but you see, there's the other thing. He is a natural-born liar. No, I think he's famous. He's famous on television for his very poor sense of direction. But I bet you didn't say he was the worst at anything, did he?
No.
Because you see, I'm rather brilliant at everything. No, the one thing about James May is he'll never say me when you ask if somebody can't be done. Anyway, here we go.
Who would you least like to spend the night in a foreign prison with? Yourself?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Why would? What's wrong with your own company?
Oh God, bore myself to tears. No, me. Well, I've been in a foreign prison too, by myself, and it's not much fun. So I've been, so it would be me.
And who is most likely to survive? I can't
believe I just said I've been in a foreign prison and got clean away with it. But there we go.
We're going to skip over that because we probably won't be able to include it. Who is most likely to survive being stranded on a desert island? Is he resourceful?
No, he's just more resourceful than May and me, if we're honest. I mean, he sort of knows what he's doing. James May would just take such a long time. He'd die of starvation before anything was achieved or completed. I can't do anything. I literally can't do a thing. I can't wire a plug. I mean, it took me 20 minutes to work out how this rubber works, as you saw. So you'd need Hammond, really, to get on. And we saw this in Mongolia. You have to get him to build the car that would save our lives, because we'd still be there if it were James, and he'd just, well, right, so now I've got everything laid out beautifully. Oh, no, wait, I've died of malnutrition.
Who is most likely to miss their flight? May.
No, wait, I was on the lavatory. and has.
What?
Not most likely to. Has.
Has.
While shitting.
I can imagine filming's quite difficult then when you're constantly flying.
You need a lot of tape, that's for sure.
And who is most likely to get seasick? You?
Yeah.
Have you been seasick before?
Yeah.
Was it bad?
Yeah. Have you ever been seasick?
Nearly. Not quite.
Now, I don't think there is necessarily a worse thing that you can suffer from. I mean, obviously, for the first 20 minutes, you genuinely are worried you're going to die. And then for the next 20 minutes, you're genuinely worried that you might not. I mean, you just sit there going, kill me. Go into the kitchen drawer in the boat, get a knife and put it in here, and hard, jab it in, I'll cut that, cut it. It's a dreadful thing, debilitating disease. And I think Hammond was once on television being sick, but I happened to know while he was in a boat. Being in a boat had nothing to do with why he was being sick, and the enormous amount of wine he'd drunk the night before did. So, has it gone viral yet?
It will do, hopefully. With the stories you've told.